Yeah, we could probably start, and then I think he's drawn in later. It's a bit early from where he is. Then yeah, thanks guys for joining in. As you know, we do this every Thursday, and then today is actually a surprise AMA with Reppo, one of our partners, who is launching. I think their TGE date is set to be around the first week of November, or second week, sorry. So the basically Reppo did it. The story is basically Reppo did a note sale. It's a liquid note sale that partnered with LNT Vault, liquid note token. So people who bought notes of the Reppo notes, lots of you guys, I think maybe even over 90% of you guys have already pre-deposited your notes to the pre-deposit section in LNT's page under the pre-deposit vault. And then you guys are going to have day one liquidity. So the note sale is a vested sale. So I think it's actually 12 months, if I remember correctly. And then without the LNT, you're going to receive the token through a linear vesting for 12 months. With LNT, you get all the liquid note token through vRepo. And then basically, there's going to be a AMM pool where you can trade vRepo to Repo for instant liquidity. Of course, that's going to be a discount. But if you hold vRepo, then every periodically you can redeem for the real Repo token. But if you hold it till the end, you can get all of the Repo token at 1-to-1 ratio. So that's sort of the long story short. That's how it works. And we could start taking questions like Sharp NFT. If you got any specific questions, feel free to type it in the chat, and then we can kind of just go over them. Yeah, today we're going to spend more time on the upcoming Repo launch, even though there's still some time. I'd say like at least 2 weeks. But it's good that we could start to roll out more AMAs specific to this. In the same time, let us try to get RG on the chat as well. So a little bit more on the general updates with us. LNT, Either checker node vault's doing really good. So there's about over 500 nodes, and there's going to be more liquidity. I think there's over $1 million in dollar terms in liquidity from VATH to ATH. Really good LP rewards. Annualized LP fees earning over 40%. Right? And I think that's only going to grow, even though the market has been down a little bit for Ether's ATH token. The nodes are still pretty consistently at I think every day we're getting 70,000 ATH token, and that's gonna be used towards buying back the VATH. Across all the LNT products, the vesting token, it's guaranteed 1-to-1 conversion to the actual token. That applies to, of course, the ATH and also Repo, as well as DOG, because that's another big update. It's launching with DOG in November. We can actually see the date. It's probably going to be around mid-November. Yeah, so by then, if you hold DOG nodes, you can be able to trade VZOG for liquidity. Without RG joining, I guess we could start. We could kind of just start talking about everything as far as we know about the launch, and I'll try to answer any questions. So if you guys are node holders for the Repo nodes, feel free to start asking questions. I'll just start with laying some of the groundwork. I think with the Reppo TGE, it's going to be on Virtuals, of course on base network. they are going to do it. The date that I got is November 11th, so that's the TGE date. And basically, the node cell, I think there's 500 nodes. There's 500 nodes sold, and then in the LNT vault, there's 499 nodes pre-deposited. So yeah, so most of you guys like Sharp NFT, you probably hold nodes here. Yeah, so the TGE is going to be on virtuals. That's what I got. So the Reppo token TGE. So, but let's do wait for the RG to join. Yeah, so it's definitely gonna be on virtual. Okay, let me type it in. So this is like a launchpad. So do you know like all these AI agent token launches on virtual? It's actually a pretty big launchpad. Yeah, so basically you can token there, and then they're gonna have liquidity of your token. Yeah, virtual where new AI tokens launch. Correct. Yeah, so I think it's a reasonable choice, to be honest. Compared with other platforms such as Aerodrome on base, which is I think virtuals maybe fit the narrative is a little bit better. Yeah, so that it's going to be I think second week of November, and then basically by then I think there's going to be a claim where you can there's an ecosystem claim. Like of course you guys are from the Reppo community, so you probably know more than me. So as far as the nodes concerned, the facts are I think there's again there's about 500 nodes sold and there's 499 pre-deposited via LNT. So the term it's 12 months vesting. So people who bought okay, let's answer the questions first. They mentioned Coinbase at a point. They also mentioned baseline markets. None of that is coming. Yeah, so these are two very different things. So baseline markets, I think it's another launchpad or DEXs on Base. So that's decentralized. Coinbase, that's a different story. So Coinbase CEX launch, that's normally that's a pretty big deal, and it takes some effort to launch that. So if they could, if they do that day one, I would say that's super bullish. But as far as what we're getting, I think it's a virtual TGE at least for the beginning, and the CX list come next. So could they launch on Coinbase? That's a question for Reppo. I personally think that would be great. So yeah. Okay, so the baseline, as far as I'm concerned, I think it might not be the first option. So the virtual is going to be the platform to do the token generation event, and then there's going to be liquidity there, and then the baseline, maybe the team could integrate afterwards. So how bullish is the launch on virtual? I think depending on how you execute it, there are some really successful launches on virtual. The platform it's definitely I would say like got a ton of attention. There's lots of users natively using virtuals. There's lots of token launches. So really, I think it comes down to the project itself, like how much community you have in the backing the your protocol. How much is the protocol revenue generating? How much revenue are you generating? Things along those lines. What are some big partnership, big integrations? As far as we are concerned, we're the third party here. We're just the derivative platform specifically for the nodes. So yeah, so I think it's going to be up to you guys to judge that. Of course, we on our side, we're like we would love to see all of our partners succeed, like either DOG and Reppo. But of course, like doing different projects, doing different things at different stages. Yeah. So nonetheless, I think the TG is always good news. It's better than like lots of projects tend to like the delay. I think Reppo already have like decent traction and they're working towards the TG that really reasonably bullish for me. So yeah, and I also think TG is most of the time, especially for good projects, it's just the start. So you probably understand the tokenomics better than us. The like how the tokens designed with their whole repo protocol, repo exchange, and everything else. So yeah. Yeah, so again, to continue, I think vesting is 12 months. That is a 12 month, basically like you would you already pre-deposited. Then once mainnet comes, you will be deposit to the mainnet LNT vault for Reppo, which is the same thing. Like it's like your NFTs are already deposited there. It's just gonna be a new vault specifically for mainnet. And then depending on your node is a standard node or a premium node, you will get a X number of token. Let me check this number. So yeah, so basically you get more tokens for the premium one, but there's a set number of token. You get, let's say that number is 1,000 V repo token, then you get 1,000 V repo token. And then with that, you can trade against repo directly. So this 1,000 V repo, you can continue to earn repo for the next 12 months. The claim schedule, it's actually, oh, hi, RG. Yeah, good to see you're joining. Let us, I think you could just raise your hand and then let us put it on the stage. Let's do that. Yep. Invite to speak. Oh, there it is. Nice. Hey, what's up?
Hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I was having connection issues.
No worries. No worries. Cool. Yeah, so RG here, co-founder of Reppo. And then we're just chatting. So this setting, the AMA we do every week, it's a really casual. We're just kind of like sometimes it's more specific. Like today, of course, we're talking about the upcoming launch. But typically, it's just like people asking questions in the chat, and then we tend to just talk and answer the questions. Yeah, so I guess I'll yield the stage to you for any for intro, and then we can kind of go from there.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, so hi, everyone. I'm RG, founder of Reppo, and super excited about the upcoming launch and yeah, kicking off the LNT vaults and the trading on Zoo. So yeah, happy to take any questions. Yeah.
Yep. So we got one user, Sharp NFT. He's a holder. I think Sharp NFT. I think you hold 6 nodes, or because yeah. So he's been here for a while, asking some really good questions, and I guess we could probably kind of go over some of the questions he asked earlier. So yeah, so number one is on what platform is the TG happening? So I kind of already answered that on virtual, but RG, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. So yeah, we were deciding between virtuals and Aerodome, just given all the community launches. And we went with virtuals because the daily trading volume is almost 10x. It's about 400 to 500 million dollars a day. And we're also integrating with a bunch of ecosystem apps on virtuals. And we do have plans for sex listings, but given the amount of traffic on sex listings right now, we're going to do that around going to have a 60-day time period before we go on sexes to allow for price discovery and price discovery and just making sure that everything is stable. So eventually we'll start to pair Reppo with USDC and all the other major assets. But right now the base asset is going to be base equity virtuals. That really shouldn't impact from what I've discussed, Marshall, the LNT basis, and but happy to take any other questions on that.
Correct. So the for LNT, like for node holders, your on the LNT swap side, your it's gonna be based out of the repo token. So it's a repo. You get V repo, and then you trade against repo. So there's no, of course, like there's routers that you could route towards Virtual's token, or that Virtual token obviously have liquidity against all the other stuff. You could do that, but then as far as we are concerned on the node side, then it's a native token based. Yeah, so I do think that's actually quite bullish on the Virtual's launch. There's a clear PMF with Virtuals. There being so many like AI agents, and then of course RG talked about the potential partnership there. And then be able to launch the token in their ecosystem. I think it's going to be good attention, good marketing. Yeah. So that's good. So basically, RG, the CEX listing is sort of targeted like about 60 days after the initial launch. So we're talking about like maybe January.
Yeah, around that timeline. We'll see how December is doing. But yeah, we've talked to some of the major ones. Also because I think right now
Nice.
a lot of projects are getting a lot of good ones on virtuals. I've actually gotten great sex offers, and so I think one question that people in the community have had is, oh, what about all the liquidity? And that's actually a good thing, because if you look at like how the virtual unicorn launchpad is designed, they have done a great job at like the automated capital formation, where the tokens, I think about 25% of the supply is unlocked in a staggered way, where it depends as you increase your FDV. And so that's actually how we're going to get. So the way I think it's about 5% unlocks at 2 million FDV, then eventually like 5 million FDV, 10 million FDV. That's how it unlocks. And yeah, so we'll just use that part for liquidity provision for sexes. So yeah.
I think that's good. So basically, the like my advice, I mean, obviously, like if I'm like a holder, I will wait for the CX listing, because typically the DEX liquidity is not as good as the order books on CX. So if you're node holders, yeah, so basically you get repo tokens depending on the nodes, how many nodes you have, like what type of nodes you hold. You could sell against repo, and then so that's instant. And then afterwards, there's gonna be 2 months before you could essentially trade it on all the CX that you guys mentioned. So between that and then so that's the decision that you can make. And then if you were to hold, then one way to earn extra is actually to provide liquidity from vRepo to repo. If you're a node holder, you can get vRepo natively, and then you can get some repo and then provide liquidity there. So the swaps are actually quite popular. So based on what we've seen with Aether, the APY is sometimes over 40% annualized. So that's definitely a way to put your token, your nodes to work. Let's see, Lazy Ape. Lazy Ape is one of our very active member here. Previously, Virtual had a system to see who can launch tokens on their platform. It had to have enough virgin points to pass. Is that right? So yeah, I think that's a question for RG.
Yeah, so now they've launched what they call the Unicorn Launchpad. So you can just go to just Google it, or go to the website. It's quite different. Virtuals is moving away from just quote unquote AI agents, and If you look at their recent launches, there's a project called VPay that is doing decent, and like a lot of projects are launching. And also, just to let you know, that similar to Aerodome, Virtuals has had a partnership with Coinbase. So all the tokens listed are launched on on Virtuals are available on the um, are available under the AI agent section on Coinbase, and I can share this here. But they're also working with the Coinbase team to allow all DEX tokens to be available on the Coinbase app. So that's going to be huge. And as I
Nice.
said, we're gonna move to, we're gonna, depending on how good things go, how quickly things go well, we can also start like take 1 to 2% and create a pool on Aerodome. So yeah, basically, but to answer your question, that's no longer a requirement to have Virgin points. We do our you can basically as a team do buybacks, and Repo is actually doing almost 25% buyback from the buyback pool. So that's gonna actually add a lot more confidence to the launch.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, so definitely glad to see that both Aerodrome and Virtuals are doing essentially like better discovery on the Coinbase app, and then of course the Coinbase wallets. So yeah, I think overall the pretty good. That's sort of similar, like reminds me of Binance Alpha, but I think it's a lot more fair in terms of the sort of the terms of the launch. Like, yeah. So, kind of talking about that, RG, what are the sort of the tokenomics, the distribution like what are the communities portion? Like, is there like a specific incentivizations for like early users? Of course, I think the note it's pretty clear, but we could kind of just hear it generally from you.
Yeah, so apart from the nodes, there's 8% that's for the community. Now, of course, all the 8% is not going to be dispersed, right? We are exploring, of course, we're not going to do any like stupid, locks or anything. But we are going to create incentives where if people, because, the main goal here is to bootstrap the V voter system, the V voter pool, so to say. So yeah, if anyone who is eligible for claims and airdrops, if they lock for 6 months, they can get 50% more. If they lock for 12 months, they get 20% more. These are not like concrete numbers. Of course, we're just doing some simulations and we'll launch that. But of course, if someone just wants to, sell on day one, they're welcome to. Um, so I think that's how it is. But yeah, I would say it'll range the total community airdrop claims part is at about 8%. So that's 8% of the total supply. So what 80 million tokens. Um, and oh yeah, one thing I want to say is we are going to not it's not just that like Repo is just going to like do the airdrops at TGE and then kind of leave, because we are very kind of inspired by projects like Giza Protocol, where they have like different seasons after launch, where they incentivize users to continue to use the product and still give rewards, and that's how we foresee. So it's not going to be some crazy like, oh, like you get 200% APY for 2 months and then you can forget about it. From what we have seen from projects that have done that, it really doesn't play out as well, just from staking perspective. And so yeah, you can expect different rewards, and we actually mentioned this in the tokenomics we published on our Git book, also in on X. There's like specific V repo incentives and publisher incentives. But and which is kind of that pool is going to be different than the 8%. So yeah, TLDR is there is a lot. Majority of the tokenomics is reserved for community because Repo got lucky where we only have I think 5.3% to investors. So we won't have to deal with any crazy major dumps or big funds. We
Mm,
kept things
nice.
lean and we're gonna keep growing with the community. So hopefully the chart will look more like BitTensor than some other projects.
Nice, nice. Awesome, awesome. Yeah. I think indeed the TG, especially for good project, is just the start. And then it's like you can finally design all the use cases around the token, and then align the interest with the community. So to me, that's a really good sign. So Sharp NFT, you said that you got a ton of questions. You can feel free to ask anything. So as far as you could feel free to type it in. We can kind of just go over some of the general terms with the on the LNT side, specifically for the nodes. So we'll kind of touch upon that in the beginning. The vesting is going to be 12 months. Distribution, it's going to be through the LNT wallet where you already have pre-deposited, and then you're gonna once mainnet come, it's gonna be a one-click switch to the mainnet LNT wallet. Then you get X number of V repo token, and then this token periodically you can claim back to repo based on the distribution schedule. At the same time, you can sell any amount of it, 100% or 50% of it in the AMM to get actual repo token. I think it's really pretty straightforward. You deposit the nodes, you get VRepo, you do things, DeFi stuff, and then at the same time, you can also, I forgot to mention, you can also withdraw the nodes. If you hold the VRepo token, there's a number. It gradually decreases the required number of VRepo to withdraw a node. And then there's no lockup or anything on our side, except that there's a 90-day non-transferable clause. Which means that before that you can only essentially hold it through you or the LNT wallet. After the 90-day, you could actually send it to anyone else or trade it on the NFT markets as well. Or in our case, you cannot actually buy VRepo and withdraw more nodes. So that's I think that's sort of the overview. Pretty straightforward actually. I think Sharp NFT is type in an essay. Of course, there it is. Question 1, we're talking about TGE as a long-term user long before any announcement of token rewards. Published on Reppo when announcement came and the subscription fee came. Paid $1, was not upgraded, money taken. Upgraded again when it was increased to $2. This time was successfully cancelled or published. So this is a really specific question. Glad to see Sharp NFT, your early user of the protocol.
Yeah.
Like change devices. Yes, RJ, I'll let you take it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. 1 second. Can you hear me or?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So basically, I think we've addressed this in the community TG, but yeah, TLDR is we use Alchemy, right, for as the RPC node, for when we upgrade the upgrade feature, because of course, like any project, there's a lot of bots that started to come along, but also the traffic was crazy. And so that's why usually it takes about from anywhere from like almost 30 minutes to sometimes an hour. And this is just like in all the Alchemy side. I think we've addressed this for most users. If you've upgraded the account and you've engaged, you shouldn't worry about rewards. But if that did impact your ability to vote daily or publish, From what we've seen, usually the issue resolved in the first 24 hours. But yeah, if it didn't resolve for you, just you can DM the TG channel, and someone from the team will reply. But yeah, TLDR is, if you did upgrade, everything is accounted in our, of course, in the back end, even though if Alchemy isn't picking it up. So yeah, sorry about that. Where we just had to do that last minute, and those issues won't exist, of course, once we go mainnet, because everything will be on chain, and also the fees is paid in repo instead of having to pay USDC. So yeah.
That's actually, I think that's good. I mean, the Wax Bandit. No, I think that's a legit question. Yeah, that's actually a good question, because we are, of course, like talking about LNT, but it's good that all the like product specific questions can get addressed. Yeah, so from what I heard, I think once mainnet comes, you could actually pay everything with Repo. So instead of using USDC. So there seem to be some hold up there. And then I can kind of attest to the Alchemy side. Things are not going to be 100% up all the time on the RPC. We've had issues. We even have a few backup RPC providers. So definitely felt for that. So yeah, I think that's good. Legit question. So RG, while you're here, why don't you explain to some of our Zoo community users about how what Repo does, and then how do people get involved, and what's kind of like the bigger picture for it?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way to think about Repo is as BitTensor for AI training data. So just like on a BitTensor, you have different subnets building for MLAI, MLAI kind of models, or for intelligence, so to say. We're mostly focused not on the inference layer or on compute layer. We're mostly focused on the data layer. I think someone last week was comparing Repo to Divana, but we're very different. We don't do we're not an L1. We're not gonna incentivize people to bring their data and all that stuff. 25% of the total total supply is reserved for token
Oh, sorry.
emission. So sorry, can you hear me? Oh, hello. What happened? Oh, hello. Can you hear me? One second.
Okay, good. So can you guys hear RG? RG? Let's check mic check. Okay, good. All right. I thought I was laggy. Just rejoin. Try to see some of the questions. So second question from Sharp NFT is had thoughts publish. Okay. Very specific. I'm not sure if I can answer that, but yeah, that's why we're here. Let me try to pin RG. I mean, I actually checked these question from Bell Altman 1. With the TG nearing, could you share details on when and how participants will be able to claim their dual finance rewards? Transparency would be greatly appreciated by the yes. So these I actually can answer because it's regarding the LNT side. So yeah. So again, term is 12 months. So the basically, if you were to get the vesting repo token, then it's 12 months, and it's actually a weekly claim. So every week, then you get the repo token. With LNT, the use case is where you get all the tokens in V repo, such that you can sell all of them for repo or liquidity, or sell a portion of them, provide liquidity in the swap to earn extra. So these are all pretty straightforward. At the same time, because there's no cliff, we are gonna start to accumulate repo token. Those token that the vault claims, you can actually redeem this your V repo token. So Yeah, so basically you can there's I would say there are three things you could do. You get the first number one, you get the V repo, you can sell it, you can provide liquidity, you can hold it to claim repo token. And that's the three things within the 90 days of non-transferable. And then after the 90 day, then you could actually also do another thing, which is NFT arbitrage. That's actually quite popular with the Aether LNT vault, where you can actually buy the notes with the here it is. Let's see. Invite to speak.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me
Here
now?
you are. That's good. Good.
Okay. Sorry about that.
All good. Yeah, no worries. I'll yield to you on the questions from Sharp NFT. And then Bale, did I answer the question? Like, I'll continue with that later. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I think the main goal for Repo is to generate AI training data at scale. Compared to of some other projects where you have, let's look at BitTensor, right? Where you have validators who are validating the work of, you know, any of subnets and all that stuff. Our mechanism is quite different, where the VE Repo voters are the validators themselves. There's no subjective validation apart from the fact that people are voting for different content published on the platform. So anyone publishing on Repo can be considered a miner, and anyone voting is considered a validator on Repo. Um, there's about 200K emissions to be mined every week, which is quite crazy if you think about it. The upside is, in the first couple of months and even the first year, the upside is going to be a lot higher for anyone who is participating in the process. And the way the mechanism works, all of this is of course already described in the Git book, is if you publish something and your published content, which we call a collab, gets votes, and you can get up to 50% of the emissions. So you can literally get 100K tokens, which will be split, of course, between you and all the voters. So it's not like you just get 100K emissions. We do have a lot of fail safes and abuse metrics in place, or abuse mitigation vectors in place. But yeah, TLDR is, you can earn up to, I would say, as a publisher, yeah, you can actually earn up to 100K tokens. The 200K is split between voters and publishers. But yeah, that's how the mechanism works. So you can do the math yourself. And yeah, those tokens you earn are completely liquid as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of competition between voters and publishers to mine tokens and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty clear. I think I'll continue to give it to you, RG. There's more questions from Sharp NFT. Question two, and then also the latest questions.
Publishers are not getting higher reps, and my voters not getting higher reps. Why are feedback? What do you mean? Why are feedbacks getting no reps? So does it not matter at the main node? I mean, yeah. What I discussed right now is about mainnet. So I think what we found eventually was that just higher reps was not the best metric. So yeah, I think as long as a community member in the testnet, right, as a contributor in the testnet, you have published high quality pods, and you've voted for high quality pods. Um, it really shouldn't matter. The good thing is, in the age of AI, we can easily track who has contributed. The quality. So yeah, Repo is not, as a project, we're not just gonna give out claims just based on reps, because people can easily game that. In the sense that we have, of course, had the $2 fee, and then limited how many votes you can get and how many pods you can create, collabs you can create. But people people can still find ways to bot it. So yeah, to answer your question, um, a lot of the times we're also the AI agent that we built is flagging projects. That's another reason why there's a discrepancy in the ranking or how many reps you think you have versus what is being shown on the leaderboard, because the AI agent is constantly removing quote unquote low quality pods which just link to an X account or have a broken link. And yeah, our team, I think we intentionally did not invest as much into doing a lot of what do you call it, like a lot of um, adding a lot of barriers for publishing and the testnet, because we wanted as many people to participate. And we have seen a lot of high quality collabs being published. But yeah, to answer your question, um, people are not getting higher reps because we just want to keep the system fair.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, really, really good ton of questions. It's great, actually. Those are actually the users we as founders really appreciate, who actually use the product and then have constructive questions. Nice, nice. Oh, I see D-Day joining. Pretty sure you've asked some questions before in our Discord, and then definitely recognize you. So I think we're just doing questions on the chat where you could just read up anything. We'll just discuss it. Um, yeah, feel free to literally ask anything. Yeah. So the question from Einbell on the node reward. So is that did I answer your questions clearly? Yeah, so the date for the launch, it's actually currently setting to be 2 weeks, about 2 weeks post TGE. The so if it's mid-November TGE, then basically it's gonna be towards the end of November. That's when you can start claiming the nodes and we'll get everything right. Of course, starting to trade vRepo as well. Let's see. Okay, so these are also questions towards RG. Feel free to start taking them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I think as said, there's no human here involved. The agent deleted it because I mean, I don't exactly know what you publish, Sharp NFT, but I can get the team to take a look. A lot of times these collabs, they if they aren't updated or they're not linking, if the link is broken, sometimes we have seen from publishers that they publish something but the link eventually gets broken. If you publish the poem, let's say on Claude, but the eventually it requires someone to log in, then that basically requires. But I would say the TG group is the best place to ask these questions, and the team can basically you can share your um, account or your wallet ID, and we can take a look. But yeah, there's no targeting happening here. If so don't so I can't really answer why they were deleted. You know, because there's a criteria to keep the platform clean and avoid spam. So I'm not saying your content was spam. I'm just saying that that's what the AI agent has decided, and the agent is not perfect. All of that is to say that we do have a record, though. If a lot of people voted for your content, even if it's deleted from the front end, right? Because the publishing is on chain still. Remember, it's all the publishing is on the base blockchain, even in the testnet. We already know who published what, so we can't manipulate that, right? Which is a great thing. And we do have a record of who voted for which collab. So, long story short, if you publish really high quality stuff that you believe is high quality, and a lot of people voted for you, then you should not be concerned about any rewards here. Several
Nice.
participants have experienced Twitter suspensions. Is this from Repo or I'm not sure, because I think a lot of times um, the person who manages the Twitter, people are sometimes rude, or they are just um, you know very shouting and just asking like irrelevant questions. So as a project, we need to focus. So sometimes we generally don't ban, but if we're constantly seeing someone almost like harassing the team or other members in the community, we do choose to ban them because it's just not worth anyone's time. Will there be any alternative verification or claim method to ensure genuine contributors? Of course, yeah. Like, I mean, it's not like you have to like log in on X. The claim wallets. So we mentioned this on the X, but of course, we use embedded wallets from Privy. If you didn't log in through X before, so if you log in through X, you can change your claim wallet. Um, Oh, it's not from Repo, it's from X. Yeah, yeah, okay. Sounds good. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we wouldn't enforce X logins. You can still just log in through your wallet, whatever wallet you have, and you can change the claim wallet. So as we mentioned on our X, that the claims page should go live soon. And yeah, once the claims page is live, you can use it whatever address you want to use for the claims. So that shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, we've taken care of that.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, X can be a bit tricky. So yeah, definitely. I think if you guys are like really active on X, then sometimes you probably could run into issues like that.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, some other you guys, some of you guys didn't really ask any questions. Anything else that you wanted to discuss? I think as far as the TG goes, so RG, is there a set date for the TG that the community should know, or you've already
Um,
published that?
I would say November 11, but we are just, of course, working with the virtuals team here, because, on virtuals, many launches are happening. So the virtuals team is just, I think it's going to happen that week though. So the week of, November 11, if not the 11th itself, it's going to be basically that week, either the 11 or 14. We're just like planning it out so that, yeah, we're just planning it out and to see, which date is best because there's another project launching. Um, yeah. Also, market conditions. Yeah, sure. I mean, I mean, founders can constantly. I think I'm sure Marshall can speak to this. We can no founders don't have control on market. So we believe that the product we built has real utility. We even if we've actually it's something that I have mentioned in the AMA for Repo. We're actually working with some of the largest enterprises. We're working with the parent company for Pornhub. We're working with some of the biggest vibe coding platforms to help them create preference data. We actually have some revenue in the pipeline as well, and we're not concerned. Eventually the market discovers what is valuable, and yeah, so it really shouldn't matter. As you can see, we did not go down the path of like Kaito, where we just create hype, and the project basically dies in 2 weeks. Yeah, we're not interested in that. We're building here for the long term, and of course, we want to make sure that we are growing with the community instead of just launching at a high FDV and dumping on everyone. That's not the goal here. There's a reason why we aligned all our investors to be able to do a community launch. So literally, if you are participating on virtuals in Zoo, you're getting in super early. And of course, it's always your choice if you want to exit early or you want to grow with the community over the next 6 to 8 months or over even years. Yeah, that's my answer. Repo airdrop is coming for Zoo community. Maybe, yeah. I mean, we're Marshall and I cooking some things. So you'll hear on that in
Yeah,
the next few days. Yeah.
working on that. That's a great question from Lady A. And then wait a sec, did I hear Pornhub? I just want to confirm.
Yeah, yeah, we're working with them. So I think this is something we mentioned. This is actually public information. If you look on our website, there's a subnet by ALO. ALO is the parent company based in Montreal. So yeah, we don't talk about it as much because it's a it's a pilot we're running with them, and it's technically it's the raw data that they gave us. Of course, it's explicit content, and it's adult content, but it's behind a not a paywall, but what do you call it? Like sorry, if you go to subnets on Repo, um, when you go click, if you go to get started voters, if you become a voter and you go to private subnets, you can actually see some of the companies that are running private subnets on Repo, and we're onboarding more and more companies. So what you will see down the line is even anyone in this room right now, you can start a subnet. It's going to be a lot
I
cheaper.
think someone asked if it's bullish. I think if it's you hear Pornhub, it's generally pretty going to be pretty bullish. Nonetheless,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
because
most visited stats in the whole internet.
yeah, I think a lot of people don't know 60% of the internet traffic is just, adult content. And what we see, Facebook and all these things are actually like pretty low. And so in terms of traffic. And this is a big opportunity, right? I think, like, of course, like Repo being a decentralized platform, people can come and collect human preferences and preference data, alignment data on anything. Even OpenAI actually made an announcement that in December they're gonna start allowing some sort of adult content, or adult content on OpenAI and ChatGPT. Like, it's not about like just entertainment. It's a whole industry where you need a lot of training data, and it's been really hard for them to get that training data just scraping online, because there's a lot of, like, you know with, like, yeah, essentially, if you just go down the thesis or the literature, academic literature on AI training data, most of the people have focused on just scraping it, but that is done. And so what Repo is doing is, of course, as a founder, I believe that it's very unique, but there's a lot of there's a lot of research as well that backs this, where it's the first platform where you can, using the VE mechanism, you can actually know, this is the first time you can know, like, how strongly people feel about it. So imagine, like, you're watching a YouTube video or whatever video you're watching, you just do a like, comment, that's it. But literally imagine you can tell someone how much you like it, and using your voting power, like, that is a crazy metric for AI researchers. Like, that's the reason why a company like ALO is working with Repo. And that's the reason why some of these vibe coding platforms want to work with us, because the fact that you can cryptographically know how much someone likes or dislikes something, it's a great metric when you're training AI models, even agents. So yeah.
That is pretty cool. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Definitely good stuff. Supreme NFTs benefit. Sorry, I lagged a bit on the latter part of RG's explanation, but then yeah, definitely, I think that's solid. Supreme NFTs benefit after TGE. So Supreme NFT, is this are you talking about the node NFT, or is there something else?
No, these
The
are
the
the
print,
most recent collection
right?
of NFTs that yeah. Um,
Ah, I see.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, we can't discuss, we can't reveal much, but I think something we have talked about every day, pretty much. Is the fact that NFT VE repo is an NFT, just like, and this is not like, if you look at like Aerodome, that's how the VE mechanism works. You lock, tokens, you get an NFT against it. We have talked about V repo incentives. So I think I'll just say this again. Of course, I'm not making any promises to the community, and just because I don't want to be held accountable 3 months from now. But I think it is important to know that all these NFTs are not just about airdrops. They All of them have utility in terms of future incentives, V repo incentives, which is explicitly mentioned in the repo tokenomics. And I think the way we think about it is, with OpenSea, doing a TGE sometime in Jan, I think the founder wrote about it. NFTs are going to come have a resurgence. And there are ways where we will explore people, including after even the zoo NFTs, people can start to trade them after 90 days. There's going to be a utility. There's going to be a lot of utility in the ecosystem. There's like solver nodes. You can, there's a world where you might be able to set up a solver node on the data exchange and sell your solver node. Um, just to give you an idea, if you go on Tau Stats, which is the BitTensor, associated websites, now on BitTensor, you can actually sell your subnet. So let's say you created a subnet, you can sell it. Similarly, you should be able to sell your solver node, right? So that means that, let's say 3 months from now, once the data exchange goes live and you hold the node NFT, and of course, you're engaging with the zoo mechanism, there might be other upside where someone comes in and says like, hey, this solver node NFT, I want to basically acquire the rights, which basically gives them the rights to future revenue. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that can happen. um, you know that's all I have to say, but yeah, TLDR,
Mhm.
if you're a holder, you will definitely benefit from it.
That's good. Yeah, indeed. So basically, the first 90 days, you could sell the VRepo, vesting repo token for repo for liquidity, of course. And then after the 90 days, you can actually kind of go between the NFT, normal NFT markets like OpenSea and the LNT world, because the price is going to be, there's going to be room for discrepancies because the NFT is normally on OpenSea is priced in Ethereum, and on us is obviously priced in Repo. So there's going to be difference in price, and then at times you could move NFTs between to profit from that. From the LNT side, there's no lockup. You could literally send back VRepo to withdraw a node. You could send back more VRepo to withdraw more nodes, and then vice versa, at any given intervals that you would prefer. So yeah, that's I think in a way that kind of looking forward to the non-transferable period to end as well, so that people can start trading. Um, Good. So I think that's pretty much. We're running quite a bit of a long AMA. If you guys have any last minute questions regarding Repo, LNT, the launch, now it's time to do. If not, and then we typically like to also discuss the macro events, the markets, and everything. So today we have RG. Why don't we ask RG? So what's your opinion for Q4 this year? And
Hmm.
then the bigger picture for like the market. Specifically, do you think it's gonna be the 4 year cycle as before, or do you think this is gonna be like the Bitcoin super cycle? So yeah.
Yeah, my own opinion is that I think the 4-year cycles are ending. There's I think I saw someone's post, or someone's tweet the other day, which basically said that every crypto company is either going to be a Web2 company or or a casino, right? There's no there's no longer, I think, that whole thing where it's just based on narrative. There's no product. Like, I think community knows. The community knows that if there's no product at TGE, no live product at TGE, it's gonna go not gonna go well. Also, I think what we have done in the past couple of years is we built too much infra, in terms of just core infra, without investing too much in platform applications. So my Q4, I mean, like the next 2 months, right? I guess we are in Q4 already. That in November and December, I think we should, after the whole, of course, global politics and the whole Trump and China, Xi Jinping, it impacts. But I think we should have a trade deal there. More liquidity should be coming. Fed rate cuts are coming, um, and yeah, I mean, again, no one knows liquidity condition support. They might be ending, but from what we're seeing, at least on virtuals, and with X, 402. the agents AI agent space is it's still growing. People are still automation is still gonna happen. From when we look at Repo, the fact that AI, the demand for AI training data is off the charts. If just recently you had a company called forgetting the name of the company. It was a Belgian company that got acquired by Uber, and now, literally as we speak, Uber is integrating data labeling and data annotation in their Uber app. So Uber delivery drivers and Uber drivers will literally be doing data annotation, data labeling. If that is not a bullish sign that how much data labeling and data annotation is needed, which is literally what Repo does, that I mean, you can decide for yourself. So yeah, Q4 is, I think that anyone building like an L1 for AI, they're probably going to die. I have publicly spoken about this. I've written this, you can find this in the news articles about Repo. I believe that the L1 for AI narrative is completely bullshit. We don't need like a L1 specific chain for AI. Ethereum and existing chains are well good enough. And so if you are, I think if you look at the landscape of AI into crypto projects, right? There's a lot of projects that just are trying to just build another vaporware for L1 for AI, or they're trying to build some GPU network. I think those are not, I think, where I think the meta is. I think, and I'm not going to say like the meta is in data. Of course, I'm biased, but I think the meta is in like applications. There's a reason why virtuals, which is an L2, like which is like literally like a base token, is built on base, or you could look at even, I would say, recall network. I don't know how their token is doing, but I have talked to the team. The product they've built is really solid. I think product and platforms is what the community should focus on, and what they think is the utility, instead of just focusing on chains, because chains require um, other people to come build on them, and that's a very long cycle, right? It took Ethereum 10 years to get to where it is. So if you're expecting major rewards or major growth for like in like core infrastructure projects in 1 to 2 years, that's not going to happen, but that can happen for stuff like virtuals and Kaito and things like that. So yeah. uh I mean, what do you think about big crash in stocks? I mean, yeah, I mean, it could happen. I mean, who knows if AI is like an actual bubble? But I think from our perspective, again, the way as a founder, the way I think about it is, there is constant demand to improve AI models and systems. I think that's always going to stay. I mean, there's actually a lot of interesting data, and I'm sure Marshall can speak to this as well. Even when the stock market crashed, people still need to know like what's happening, right? So like the kind of things that data feeds and data platforms, like they don't really lose business, because even if the markets aren't doing well, people need to know why. And so I think at the end of the day, like AI is the same, where even if like adoption decreases, which I don't think it's going to decrease, like with better voice models, with better like AI models, more and more people are adopting it within existing products and systems that they already use. So I think the demand for the training data, demand for compute, is going to increase. But again, no one is God here, so no one knows when the crash will happen, what will happen. So yeah, I'll let Marshall add to it as well.
Sure. Yeah, no, the Lazy Ape is it's our macro watcher here. Like he's actually super tentative to all the things happening, and then I think also like discuss with us like in terms of his view. Yeah, so kind of just summarize on what RG pointed out. I think is great. Like the overall bigger picture is that the 4-year cycle is kind of ending. To me, I tend to believe that, but I kind of only believe that until it's happened. But I do think the overall is still pretty bullish. The Yeah, hold on one sec. Yeah, so basically, yes. So the big crash, as I just checked actually, so we're still up for the month for S&P actually. So it might look big for the past few days. A bit underwhelming with the second cut of interest rate, and then it's not skyrocketing yet. But yeah, so again, I think it's still we're still up for the month, even for the week. And it could be some corrections. It's really near-term stuff. Couldn't really predict any of that. But yeah. So another thing I wanted to point out was like what RG said about it from like the founder's point of view. Definitely resonate with that. I mean, there's only so much you could do, like trying to time everything. That's never easy. But what you could control is always be building and trying to make your product better. And then I actually find the conversation with the users, the community, to be really productive and just overall constructive for the growth of the as a team. So that actually been really helpful for us. We've been doing this for like past few months, like every week, spend like an hour to talk with you guys. So that's good. Um, yeah, so just saw another question pop up. I think it's more for prediction market. So RG, if you still have time, if you don't have any time, I think that's fine. We are running kind of late, but yeah, do you want to take the question from Ayub? I think you are muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, repo is a prediction market, so I think that's how we should think about it. Um, I think people, even the VCs that we ever talked to, I think it's a little hard for them because most people know prediction markets as like just like basically either gambling or what you see in poly market where you're betting on external events. But let me drop a link here. We had shared it on our. Let me find this thing quickly. But this is very interesting. So this is a good question. Prediction markets as a concept, right? It just means that you're predicting on an outcome. That's literally what a prediction market means. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are predicting on like a world event. So 1 second. Where is this article? Science Redirect browser. Yeah. So let me drop this link. If you are interested in, but there's a lot of experiments. So like this, it's an academic article. It's not a Web 2 thing. It's not a Web 3 thing.
Oh,
But people are
sorry.
using
I
prediction
think you
market.
might need to send it to me or Sue, and then we could post it.
Oh,
There's
okay.
like a bot. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's a good thing to have actually. I just posted with you guys. But yeah, you can share with the community or share it right now. Um but yeah, TLDR is prediction markets are it's the first time that that someone is using prediction markets to curate AI training data. um you can of course if you really it's a novel concept. I think one way we pitched to when we were pitching to VCs, we were thinking about like scale AI meets poly market. Each subnet on repo is a market. It's a prediction market to curate AI training data, right? If you think about it, the way it works right now, I'm like still focusing on prediction markets, is um, when a company says, "Hey, I need data, this data set," they give a contract to a data vendor. The data vendor goes, hires a bunch of people in Southeast Asia or somewhere outside of North America, and then they basically do the work. But they have no incentive to make sure, apart from the $1 or $2 that they're getting per hour, which is really bad for the data labelers and data annotators, because they don't get any upside in the AI training data. Um, they don't really have an incentive to actually share what is good or bad. And if you look at the major companies, so like Scale AI of course got sold for $15 billion to Meta, but you have companies like Surge AI, which has almost 5 billion. I think how much? I think they have about $1 billion in revenue. That I know for sure, and it's crazy. But what they're doing now is they're going after domain experts. And so if you bring domain experts and lay over a prediction market where you say like, hey, I'm trying to predict the quality of the content and I'm giving feedback and preferences, that is very, very powerful. So to answer your question, every subnet on repo is a prediction market. We are very much focused on prediction markets to the extent that it helps our incentive mechanism. but Reppo has no plans to just become like Polymarket, where you will just like have like yes no outcomes. Like that's not the type of prediction market Reppo is. Our prediction market is literally focused on helping anyone curate AI training data sets on demand. So yeah, and I think this will all become very clear, I would say, once we start seeing more and more people um, building their own agents and models, because I think everyone is talking about compute right now. But we're reaching a world where, let's say tomorrow, like Marshall wants to build a small model or even agent for Zoo. He and right now he has. I'm assuming he would have some access to data from Zoo, from Zoo community, but he can also like just go on Repo, start a subnet, start to crowdsource some content, raw data, and human preferences, and train the model or train the agent on that curated. It's in the world of AI, it's called post training. So you can literally pick up like an existing model, Claude or O1, and then you can fine tune it. So fine tuning requires a lot of training data, and that's literally what Repo is democratizing. So yeah.
Mm. Interesting. That's actually really good. Yeah, that's actually explained a whole lot to me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I
Mm.
think
Oh,
we're
we
making
see.
a video as well. I think the reality is that we, we think about it as like it's a new concept. A lot of people don't know, but just like Polymarket, people didn't know a lot about it for the first 2 years, right? Everyone thought like, oh, prediction markets cannot replace like like big news agencies. But what we have now is like Polymarket is like a $9 billion company. So yeah, I think it takes time, and I think like no one has really cracked so far the AI training data space. Literally, there's no way, right? Surge AI, Scale AI got sold to Meta. If you think about it, there is like maybe like two or three public companies in the world that you can get exposure to for AI training data, which is crazy to me that everyone is trying to buy OpenAI, but no one is trying to look into like under the hood, like who is like if Nvidia was the compute layer, which is like on fire right now, you will literally see data be the next big thing. And I don't think that it's like personal data, all that thing. I mean, it's important that people get make monetize their own data, but I don't think like what some projects have tried to do, where they tell you to like own your data and all that stuff. Like that is the meta is literally, hey, you help generate some data, you earn Repo, or whatever token, and over time, Repo will do buybacks from the revenue we make, and the value is accrued to all holders. And I think that's the best way. You basically use revenue to do buybacks. That's the only way I would say that makes sense. Instead of allowing data tokens and all that stuff, I'm not a big believer in that. So
Good to see. Good to see. So, are you this actually a Muslim investor? So, gambling is forbidden. So that's really good to clarify that for you. Um, cool. I mean, I'd say we probably could do two more questions. We're running actually super late today, but really cool so far. The one question from LKN is Reppo.
yeah, I got it. Um, Repo doing another snapshot. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So the way we're doing this is, even up until TGE, even if when the claims portal will be live, we will continue to add people. So it's not like like the claim portal is live and we have stopped taking snapshots. It's not about snapshots. I think the last you can expect the last snapshot to be literally like right before the actual TGE event. So anyone who's contributing, anyone who's engaging, anyone who's writing, doing good educational content, looking be benefiting.
Got it. And then I think that's pretty much it. We couldn't run indefinitely. Also, I think RG don't want to like take too much of your time. Um, Did they ask target TVL WAU in first 3 months post TGE? How to avoid slow growth? So yeah, so maybe that'll be the last one, RG. And then we'll just wrap it up.
Sure. Target TVO in the first 3 months post TG. How to avoid slow growth? I mean, this is, I don't know what the one. Yeah, I mean, everyone's trying to avoid slow growth. I mean, I think the fact that we're working with the virtuals ecosystem, the fact that we're working with Zoo here to bring attention and liquidity into the ecosystem. These are all strategies that the Reppo ecosystem has taken to avoid slow growth. But yeah, I think no one has control, as we were talking about the broader crypto markets macro. Yeah, I mean, if you look at like the weekly emissions, there's 200K emissions to be mined every week. That's a pretty significant number. As more and more people get to know, that's going to bring a lot of more users to Repo. And just so that everyone knows here, of course, this is all already written in the Git book. Everyone needs to pay a fee to publish on Repo. It's going to be um, yeah, I mean, I can't really reveal what it's going to be exactly, because it's going to depend. It's a function based on demand, and people are paying repo fee to publish subnets. People are paying, of course, locking repo in the repo mechanism. So the incentives are there, and usually what we've seen is if virtuals went from 0.01 to $4, at the hype, and even now it's, I think, doing pretty well. I think what we've seen is apps and platforms that have real utility, where you literally have to use the native utility token to purchase access. I think that's usually a good thing. So yeah, that's my answer. We have strategies to avoid slow growth. We don't have target TVLs and all that stuff, because I think it's just like it's a vaporware. You can have a lot of targets, but you need to have strategy.
Nice. I totally agree. I think if you've been following the AMA today, there's lots of great bigger picture stuff that our RG has dropped. Very insightful, actually. Quite, I would say, I'm actually after the AMA. I think this is exactly like what crypto needs. Yeah, it is either a Web2 company or a casino. And I can pretty much say that I think RG is building a pretty solid company here with all the things to happen. So TG is definitely going to just be the start. And we'll continue to be here to answer all the questions. Feel free to pin us in the chat. There's going to be a the recording for today for today's AMA to be posted on YouTube. So I think with that, we could probably call it a day. Probably the longest AMA we ever did. So definitely huge thanks to RG. Just thanks for time, and then I think definitely clarified a ton of things for the users. And yeah, so thank you everybody for coming, and we'll wrap it up here then.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me, guys. And thank you for all your support. Looking forward to a successful TGE and, continued partnership with Zoo as well.
Awesome. It's awesome. See you guys.